Welcome again. It is recorded now, Monday, 14th of September, 2020 for the course of 6011, Organizational Development and Change. I am so satisfied with your homework. So rapid, speedy, that's good. Everybody is on time, especially hybrid students are very good. Especially we have two students, so challenger, one Luisa, and the next one, sometimes David is so challenger. Luisa is perfect. Always she is challenging everything, multiple articles. I think the next semester, Luisa will be our teacher assistant. I wish also. I should talk to Dr. Guyabadi about Luisa. Luisa is very active and very, very up to date, done 20 articles, not less than 20. Thanks, Luisa. You are our hope in our faculty.
Thank you.
I hope to be, you be our next faculty. And everybody, I want to work it so hard like this week. The second week was very good. Okay, we should go to chapter 5. What changes and what that changes. Let me share it. Can you see my page? What changes and what does not change? In your real life, in your daily life, do you think everything can be changed or not? What are the limitations of changing? Wayne, what are the limitations of you? Is everything changeable in your life by your own self? How do you think? Wayne, how do you think? Can everything be changeable in your life?
I think there's one thing constant in our life. Change. Change is constant.
Change is constant. Okay. And Wayne, how do you think?
Is everything changeable in my life? Is that what you asked?
By your own self, by your own will, by your own force, by your own thinking.
No.
What are the limiting factors that limit your changeability? It's a spectrum, not changeable, full changeable. It's a spectrum between these two extremes, okay? We are at the middle of the spectrum here. Sometimes near some things which seems not perfect, which seems unchangeable. Sometimes we are near something which seems full changeable. But honestly, it is real. In the real world, we are in the middle of the spectrum. What are, for example, your limiting factor? What are the factors that limit you in the spectrum of changeability? For example, I am asking Wayne, and after that, Luisa and Chinehe and David and other students. Wayne.
I would say physical limitations.
Mm-hmm.
Like my height, I can't change that.
You are not patient? You are not patient?
No, my height.
Yeah. And Luisa, what about you?
Other factors can be personal, like characteristics. Sometimes can be changed, but sometimes it's not possible. Or at least it doesn't seem possible, I guess. And also financial limitations are often a reason why changes can't happen. And these are the two things I can think of. Or laws would be also a reason.
Chineya, what about you?
Definitely. Sorry. Okay, yeah. I totally support that you can't change everything. Even if change is constant. you can't change everything. There's some things you have to accept that can be changed, and there's some things that you can change, and there's some that just happens without you changing them. So like he mentioned, I can change my character, my behavior, but I can't change how tall I am, the color of my skin or my hair. These are things that can be changed. If I lose someone, definitely can bring that person back. So there are things you can change, and there are things that changes it. It's not your fault.
Marcelina, what are the limiting factors for change in your life? Your job life, personal life, social life, what are your limiting factors? The factors that limit the spectrum of your changeability.
Well, the first thing is biology. I cannot change my parents.
Yes,
Uh,
everything related to history, you cannot change it. Also, parents are part of your, major part of your history, okay?
But in job, they are the things where are they changeable, but I cannot change my past in my job. You know, I just can take some lessons or whatever I will get from that, and the rest is changeable. Is up to me if I want to change. If I don't want to change, it means that I'm not going forward. I'm staying in one spot and I'm not doing anything. You know, that's how I feel. And changes, they are, in my opinion, changes, they are good, even they are not have on the background with a good experience. On this bad experience, you can always have a lessons with a good experience to don't steps on the same mistakes.
Excellent, excellent, thank you. And David, what about you? What are the limiting factors in your life for changing in your life, creating change?
I basically agree with everything with everything said here. I mean, we have like some biological like limitations that we can change. I believe the financial aspect, as Luisa mentioned, it is a limitation. It is a barrier. Let's put it as a barrier. It's not a limitation because you can overcome to. I believe the limitations you impose to yourself, it's everything inside your mind, you know. But of course, there are some limitations. So, for example, if I want to fly, I can fly, of course. But besides that, like your personal change, like your social, or how you want to behave, who you want to be, like that's kind of type of change. It is a constant, you know. You have to be in progress of change.
Yeah. Because as a manager, one of the greatest things that it is your power point, your point of power as a manager, as a leader, is change management. As a parent, as a daughter, as a spouse, as a partner, as a manager, as a leader, organization, social life, personal life, even your private life, for example, your skin, your body shape, your self-image, your self-concept. Sometimes of these concepts are not private, but they are personal. They are changeable always. As David says, change is constant. Okay. But we have limitation in 4 areas of your life. These are your limiting factors. You don't have unlimited resources of these areas. First, money. Your financial resources are not unlimited, even when you are super rich. If you go to Forbes magazine every day, every year, and look at the richest person around the world, we can see that there are some changing, for example, for the first 10 richest people around the world. Sometimes the third one become the next first one, or fourth one, they become the, for example, the third one. At first, financial or money resources. Second, time resources. Life is not short. Life is too short. Life is not short. Life is too short. The greatest limitation of your life is your lifetime. So you don't have enough time for everything. You don't have enough time for reading, for activity. You should choose based upon your priorities. Why? Because your time is limited. The third source of limitation is your energy. You don't have unlimited energy. You will be fatigued. You will be tired. You will be so fresh. You are sometimes sleepy. You are sometimes lethargic, and other types of consciousness. So first, money resources, financial resources. 2, time as a resource, as a source. And 3, energy as a source. And 4, your wisdom, your comprehension, your perception. This is your fourth limiting source. Why? Because there are a lot of things that we cannot understand individually. Yes, instead of me, for example, some scientists work in NASA, they have a good and a better perception, for example, of the stars in relative to me. I don't have any that volume of understanding about the stars because I am not the scientist about the stars. This is the limitation of knowledge, the limitation of wisdom. So in this chapter in your book, we want to talk about the what changes and what does not changes. At the first talking, I want to indicate your mind to some great points about your limitation in your daily life, about the possibility of change, not probability of change. Probability of change is something external, but possibility of change is something internal. How possible can you see the changeability of something? What changes? Anything and everything can change, but often factors such as strategy, we are talking about the changes in the organizations. Take a minute. Okay. Students, when you are at the class of MBA, it is not so good to turn off your camera because I cannot have some good relationship with your face, with your talking. It is when you are at the class, it is mandatory for me, also for university, that your camera be on. Thank you. Anything and everything can change, but often factors such as a strategy, a structure, technology, systems, and procedures, human resource management practices, internal and external relationships, leadership style, and culture. These are the limiting factors for change in an organization. And some of them are the limiting factors of your daily life. For example, we have Luisa. Luisa, is this Luisa or Luisa? Luisa, your pronunciation of your name is S or Z. Luisa or Luisa? Luisa, would you hear me?
I believe she's frozen.
Okay. Luisa, would you hear me?
I think my internet was down for a second.
No problem. No worries. Is your name Luisa or Luisa?
Luisa,
Luisa, okay. Luisa from Germany. Marcelina from Poland, okay? David, your originality is from Mexico?
Brazil.
Brazil. Kenneth,
Sorry?
your originality is American.
Yes, African American.
Yeah. Wayne, Far East. Take a minute, sorry. Wayne, you are Oriental. And Chineye, From African American. Okay. With
I'm Nigerian.
Nigeria, that's good. Why I'm asking such a question? Because we are here with different originality, with different culture, with different place of the world, with different lifestyle, with different socioeconomic status. But sometimes our limiting factors are shared with us in all the cultures, in all the countries. For example, strategy thinking in all the countries has the same total principles, not the detailed principles. Yes, in details, they are different. But in total, strategical thinking has the same total principles. Or how do you think about the relationship between the structure and the strategy? I think I had put one video, good video in Moodle for you about the relationship between the strategy and also what about the structure. Now we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people with me also from different parts of the world, from Nigeria, South America, North Europe, Central Europe. I am from Middle East and some part of, yes, Nigeria, Africa. We are covering all around the world except for example, Australia. That part of New Zealand, Australia, we are not from there. But you can see that we have just the same problems for creating change in our life. And also after becoming a manager, after becoming a leader, after graduating from the course of MBA, you will have some shared problems with the other peoples at your situation as a manager or as a leader. What changes contradictory? Change can be contradictory, which is also potentially damaging. Common contradictions include expecting high performance teamwork while basing rewards on individual performance. It is number one. Your target is increasing the teamwork performance, teamwork quality. But what is your target? Increasing individual performance. One of the greatest coaching styles that we have now, also you can find it in Stanford as a business coaching course. It is called high performance coaching. High performance coaching sometimes is related to the sport, for example, basketball or dancing and other parts. But some parts it is about the life coaching, high performance coaching. How can you better every day better than yesterday? Every day better than yesterday. It is sometimes of coaching so-called high performance coaching. Encouraging middle management autonomy while withholding vital performance information. The second, contradictions. Demanding cross-functional information exchange in a strong organizational silo structure. And the last one, combining a staff engagement policy with an autocratic top-down leadership style. A question, do we need authority in our organization or not? Is authority good for a leader or not? For a manager or not? David say yes. When he is eating his food, with his head, he said, yes, professor, yes, yes. It is so delicious, but you are right. It is delicious. And yes, Louisa and Marcena are saying yes with laughing. And also Chinea, I can see the other people. Lisa, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I would say it's necessary to have authority to start and lead and finish a project. Otherwise, if you don't have authority, you can't make decisions.
What is the relationship with this similarity of authority with force, with power, with pressure? Is authority a type of pressure on other people, a type of force on other people, a type of power on other people, from a type of dictatorship on other people or not? What is the good definition, effective definition of authority? Everybody can think about it. It's very philosophical mind about the leadership. weak people, people underdog, don't like authority because they experience your authority as a pressure on their head over them, as a force, as a power against them, not with them, not pushing. What type of authority can you offer to me? What definition, effective definition of authority? Also, it is a good question for my basic job as a psychotherapist, because we as psychotherapists, and also just now as a coach, I should have authority. I should have authority. Why? Because when I am so with a lot of tremor in my mind about the decision making for my clients, what type of coach you are. The people or clients come to you to help them to make the better decisions. If you cannot have a good decision about your client, about the other problems in his or her life, what type of life coach, what type of business coach you are. Because of that, authority, let me check it. Someone please check the authority meaning in Webster and say for other people in class. In Webster, because I cannot do it. In Webster, check it in Webster dictionary, the meaning of authority. Also, you can use Stanford Philosophical Dictionary or Encyclopedia. Stanford Philosophical Encyclopedia. It is very, very good encyclopedia for referring everything as an MBA student. Very, very prestigious and with a high reputation. Stanford, I think philosophical dictionary. Oh, Stanford Encyclopedia. Yes, Stanford Encyclopedia Philosophy. And we want to know about the authority. Political legitimacy, legal obligation and authority. Use this, it is about philosophy, I know, but it is very good for management also. Very, very good, because very detailed description of the word, and also it is related to Stanford. You are using one of the most validated sources all around the world in academy, Stanford. It is very good. Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. And other parts, it is Webster. Yes, we have Webster here. Let me check it. I have here in bookmark. Webster. I cannot find Webster. Webster dictionary. Okay. Authority. This is the second source you can use, for example, for dissertation, for your paper. These are the not academic, but very validated sources for definitions, for discussions. Authority, power to influence or command thought, opinion, or behavior. The president authority, freedom granted by one in authority, right. Persons in command, and a governmental agency, and ground of warranty and convenience and other things first. Okay, that's good. It is knock-on or ripple effect. It is also, we are talking about contradictory about the change. It is also apparent that changes in one domain may have a knock-on or ripple effect, creating or requiring changes in other areas. For example, in health, when you have some disorder, some diseases, It is changing in one part of your life only, one aspect of your health. But it needs some changes in other aspects of your, for example, health life, for your diet, for your nutrition, for your communication. It is very interesting that one of the surgery, heart surgery, it is called CABG. CABG is CABG is something graft from your foot, a vessel from your foot, and they transit the vessel to your heart. It is CABG. It is over 50 or over 60. It is very regular heart surgery and it is very heavy surgery, CABG. After CABG, something has happened which is very interesting and very sad. Why? Because it is the managerial heart surgery. The greatest candidates for CABG are managers. Why? Because CABG is just related to your stress management. And managerial positions are always stressful. After CABG, the doctor said to you that, Mr. Manager, lady leader, after this surgery, you should down your stress. You should relax. You should be relaxed. And you should change your lifestyle. You have done only a heart surgery, but your lifestyle should be changed. It is a knockout effect or ripple effect. Why? Because changing in one area needs to be changed in other areas of your life. Now we are talking about the organizations. New technology, for example, a favorite change for you as the future leaders, is likely to change skill mix requirements, working practices, rewards, and performance appraisal, and management system, and may also require supportive change in leadership and management behavior. I don't know how many have you worked as manager, real manager, top level manager or not, but it is very interesting and very hard for an organization when the major obstacle against change is the same as the own manager. Sometimes the managers, the leaders are the major obstacle against creating change. Employees, co-workers, everybody is ready to create a change. But the general manager is a change-resistant person. It is a catastrophe for organizational development and organizational change. Why? When you are at the head of an organization and you are a change-resistant person, the organization has a lot of problem with the force needed to create any type of required change, any type of desirable change, any type of technological, economical, customer service problems, and other parts of change when we need it in organizations. So because of that, it says it needs some new skill training requirements with every type of change. These examples of knockoff effect are obvious, but they emphasize that what doesn't change is also a relevant issue. In practice, the ripples from even simple changes in an organization can be difficult to predict, very simple. And that's difficult to manage, as in your life. Everybody can be ready for catastrophe in his or her life. Have you any prediction of the catastrophe, for example, for next 3 years of your life? Your catastrophe, your huge destroying changes. Wayne, do you have any issue as a probable catastrophe in your life for the next 3 years, except of death, except of chronic disease? These are not the catastrophe. These are not predictable. Death is not predictable. Okay, when it comes, that's good. We are not here. Until we are here, death is not here. So we don't have any problem with death, with dying, except of this philosophical thinking about the future. Is there any prediction as a catastrophe in your life?
In my life, Well, I'm in the process of applying for a green card through my work.
Mhm.
If that doesn't go through, then I'll have to move back to Korea. That's where I'm from, and
Wow.
I'll have
It
to
can
join
be
the
it can be a
military.
catastrophe. It can be a catastrophe for your life.
Yeah,
Very
because
huge damaging effort.
I'll have to pretty much restart my career and everything back in a different country. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you see one of your classmates as a prediction of a probable, not possible, probable catastrophe in his life? And now he is still very, very alert about the every cues that indicate that catastrophe. Very, very alert, very sensitive. Why? Because it is catastrophe. It is a huge. Why? Because it is visible for you. It is very huge, very giant. You can see the huge destroying changes in your life in the future time. The problem is about the small changes. Anthony Robbins has a very good sentence. He says, what differences make difference? What differences make difference? And after that, Robbins says, small differences make great difference. Small differences make great difference. Very small. For example, I heard an American old man taught Japanese language in WC for 20 years. Every time he went to WC, to restroom, he studies Japanese. After 20 years, he knew the Japanese language. Very small differences make big difference. It is not related to your course just now, but I, as a life coach, as an executive coach, should say you something. Please read about this phrase, power questions. In life coaching, in executive coaching, we have a very, very good word phrase. It is called power questions. You should know about the power questions. Power questions change your mindset.
What are the power questions?
Power the questions, as you can see the book so-called, the title is Coaching Questions. Power questions are the question you ask yourself or other people about the potential source of power. Potential source of power, not real source of power. Because of that, it is called power questions. For example, when you are in a bad situation, a lot of people say, wow, such a bad situation it is. I don't have any luck to solve the problems easily. It is always hard for me to solve the problems. But power question is, what can I do just now? If my answer cannot be nothing. If your answer cannot be nothing, because a lot of people say, what can I do just now? And they said, nothing. It is not power questions. If you find the answer or you create the answer, it is like a journey. It is like a journey. Everybody knows how to go from one state of America to other state of America, from one country to another country. They can find the path, find the road. But when human being wants to go to the moon with no computer, pay attention, pay attention. When we went to the moon, there was no computer, nothing. It is done by pen and pencil on the paper, calculation on the paper, and with that calculation, we went to the moon. One of the greatest power question is that when I am in a bad situation, what can I do for going only one step forward? If you are not allowed to say nothing, it is very important. It is very important. If you think that there is always a solution for any problem, there is always If you think there is always, then you will have the responsibility to find a solution. If you cannot find a solution, it's your problem, not the problem of solution. Please think,
I believe
read,
every
and
problem has a solution.
what?
Every problem has a solution.
Yes, David. But in real life, in real world, a lot of problems we cannot solve them. Why? Because we are not patient. We are not happy. We are not responsible for that solution. You see that every time human being is under pressure, we are creator. We are creator under pressure. So you should love your challenges as the managers, as the leader, as a never-ending improving human being. You should love your challenges. Because of that, in the text says the small changes. And after that, we will talk about the power question, about the small changes, very small. Life is a daily life. If you cannot use and grow your daily life, you are wasting your time. You are wasting your life. Life is always daily life. Everything you want, if you want to be a good leader, you should try to be a good leader just now in your daily life. There is nothing so-called tomorrow. It is a great lie. Everything you can and you can experience is only just now. You have seen me only for 2 weeks. This is the 3rd week. If each of you just now die, I am your last life experience. I am your last life experience if you die just now. You don't know me, even 2 weeks. Everybody has a good scenario about the dying process. Yes, I will see my father at the end of the blue tunnel and say me, Arash, come to me, and I will have a very beautiful angel come to me, go to heaven. It's a scenario. The only thing is just now, and after that, in the next courses, I hope to be able to teach you use mindfulness. It is very important just now. Mindfulness is in your managerial style. Okay. One example concerns the register of working practice in one area, which leads to performance improvement, which lead to pay increases for those involved, which trigger jealousy and anger in the areas which were not involved the initiative. We are categorizing changes. At first, planned changes and emergent changes. For example, we know something like COVID-19 needs some types of emergent changes, but planned changes is very good. Okay. Planned changes are those that are implemented in anticipation of or in response to known trends and developments. Anticipation or response. You can planning these parts. Elements that you can anticipate or elements that have some types of stimuli and you want to have only response. Changes in motor vehicle engine design and manufacturing method, technology, materials, and working practices are likely to be prompted by changes in legislation regulating carbon emissions. But emergent changes are those that just happen or have to happen in response to unforeseen events. We cannot anticipate, they are unforeseen, such as the sudden opening for new market opportunity or accident and failures or major geopolitical developments. I was searching about the effect of COVID-19 in the behavioral changes of the persons who work in the stock market, behavioral changes about the anxiety, high anxiety. Why? Because the stock market is naturally under something like gambling. It is not gambling. It has a very good platform and tools for analysis, but it is some type of fluctuating problem in the stock market. When there is something we cannot anticipate, like COVID-19, you can see a lot of new behaviors, new attitude in persons who are working in the field of stock market. And I, as a psychologist, it is very important for me, it is very interesting for me, and very applicable for me to anticipate the behaviors of emergent and urgent changes happened in the market. Something like, for example, 9/11, something like COVID-19, they are not anticipated. There are sudden and emergent and urgent changes in the market. Incremental changes, which is gradual and small scale, transformational change, which is radical and groundbreaking and can often to be rapid. Again, emergent and anticipatable. Radical transformational change is not new, but was also a feature of the first half of the 20th century. The first half. Why? Because of the Second World War. Sustainability became the first mental rumination for all the governors, all the members of government all around the world. Sustainability, to have a good, stable life situation all around the world, especially in Europe and America. It was very important for all the governors, for all the politicians in America, North America, countries of North America, and also in Europe. Why? Because the first half of the 20th century was a crisis of change. Everything was changing and changing and changing several times. Two great wars only in one half of a century, two greats. First World War and Second World War. Two greats, damaging everything. And after that, the Cold War for the second half of the 20th century, if not before. But there is a more important question here. Is too much attention now lavished on the larger scale transformational change, why the role of a small scale changes is overlooked? Pay attention. You are studying a book before COVID-19. I love to study this book again after 2 years, for example, 2023. In new edition, everything will be changed because we don't know that is it, for example, a rapid change, transformational change. Also, we don't know, it is not predictable. We couldn't anticipate COVID-19. But the first effect was very huge and transformational. But now it is getting as a part of people's lifestyle. Yesterday, I went to beach in Orange County and I saw, you think that there is nothing so-called COVID-19, nothing. Everybody is free, happy, without mask. And in the restaurant, I say, sorry, is there any absolute treatment for COVID-19? Everybody says, no, it's not important. Life is more important than COVID-19. Also, I know it is not rational. But after that, you will see some new types of rationality. Free rationality. Let it go, let it flow. Let it go, let it flow. Okay. And some commentators use the term first order change. We should have considered, again here, first order and second order. At the third part, we have something called third order, but third order that is not so formal. The first order change will stay the same, involves a specific initiatives that's the problem and or make improvement in ways that don't present a challenge to current method and thinking. The motto of the first order change is change to stay the same. We want to change not for changing, for getting back, for come back to the previous state. Honestly, we change for not to create change. The direction of change is inertia, staying at the same position. But the second order change, so-called sometimes transformational change, so-called sometimes rapid change, so-called sometimes catastrophe, move to get a new position. For example, every change in tapping type of cell phones. What was the great names of cell phones when it was tapping? What was the great name? The greatest company produces tapping cell phone before touching cell phones, the old cell phone. What was the
Nokia.
greatest name?
Nokia.
That's
Nokia.
good. But you cannot see and hear anything of Nokia just now. Yes, you can see and you can hear, but not like, for example, Apple and Samsung.
Ovam się.
It is a second order change. Move to get a new position. But in that part, there's different size, different tapping times. Yes, it is
Nie,
good,
bo ja mam go.
but stay to the same. Change to stay the
Ja
same.
zjem potem. Tak jak ja sałatkę.
Leads to organizational transformation by introducing new products, services, and ways of doing business based on creative lateral thinking that alters current core assumptions. I have a good question of everybody here. It is a very, very, very important and also interesting question. What is lateral thinking? Also, you can search in internet, no problem. But it is a very deep and also very simple concept. What is lateral thinking? Chineye, we cannot hear you. We have 2 lecturers today for our class. Who were the lecturer today? 2 10 minutes.
I had one about game theory.
Game theory, thank you, Lisa. And next one? 2 people, not 1. I should write them. Lisa, do you remember who was the second one? Okay. Okay. I want someone to talk about lateral thinking for the next session. Who is the candidate? You choose or I choose? Nobody's candidate for lateral thinking.
You said thinking on the sides? That's what you mean?
Lateral thinking, the concept of lateral thinking. I don't know what I mean. I want you in the next session come and talk about lateral thinking 10 minutes. Not also in management, even in management, in other parts of human life, no problem. What is lateral thinking? This is the question. Think about it until the end of the session. After that, if nobody is candidate, I will choose someone on my own. And third order change is the habitual questioning of assumptions and points of view. Today is better than yesterday. Tomorrow is better than today. Habitual questioning of assumption and points of view, contributing to what can be a chaotic process of continual adaptation, self-renewal, and self-organization. We are talking about the greatest concepts in human life: self-renewal, self-discovery, self-knowledge, self-awareness, and self-organization. And more important than everything, self-regulation. Self-regulation is everything. But it is a scientific concept. It is not the concept of literature. It is not the concept of philosophy. Self-regulation is a scientific concept with a lot of techniques and concepts about the human being and about the self. So you can see assessing depth of change. Yes. Off the scale, let me do it. Off the scale, deep change, sustaining innovation, shallow change, and not on the scale. At the highest and the lowest extreme, we see off the scale, not on the scale, but deeper, deep change, sustaining innovation, something with no name, relocate resources and grow some department, cut others, create new units and other parts, and shallow change, incremental fine tuning, cut costs, find efficiencies, first order change, constantly nibble away, making minor improvement and other things. And for example, in the deeper depth of change, paradigm shift, strategic change, third order change, new ways of thinking and solving problems, whole system change, new ways of doing business. A deep change the mission, vision, values, the organization, philosophy to symbolize a radical shift in thinking and behavior and second order change. Work on this table. It is a very good table. A lot of hints about the change. The next discussion is about innovation. What is innovation? Innovation is a key driver of change, product innovation, and other. The word thus tends to be used in a broad sense to mean the adoption of any product, system, process, program, service, or business model new to the organization. The key word in the definition of innovation is new. Every type of process, system, product, program, service, business model, which is new to the organization, is innovation. A question: what is the competitive advantage of innovation? Why a company should be innovative? Why a manager should be? It is necessary. Why? Why we improve the products? Why cannot think, live, have enjoy with the old-fashioned products? Why? I think sometimes we are fashion slavery. We are the slaves of the new fashions. Why? Have you heard anything about the money slavery? Have you heard this phrase, money slavery? Anybody here have heard it? Money slavery? Oh, yes. You will be some good and successful managers and money makers, ladies and men, and you don't like to know about the money slavery. Do you like a slavery? Wayne, do you like a slavery? David, do you like a slavery?
No, I don't.
Wayne, do you like a slavery?
No.
Nobody loves the slavery. It's but sometimes you don't know that you are in a slavery position. By what? By your money, by your job, by your habits, by your ego. It is something else also. Product innovations. We have two types of innovation: product innovation and operational innovation. Product innovation is finding new gadgets, new products. But the major parts that needs a lot of ideas, and need a lot of courage, a lot of innovation and initiation also, it is about operational innovation. Innovations in new ways to lead, organize, work, motivate, and manage. Immediate response, like we have some example. For example, in a vehicle insurance company, an operational innovation was immediate response claims handling. Or in Toyota, there was a design so-called lean production system. It was a operational innovation. Or in Walmart, we had crock docking approach in Walmart was an operational innovation. Or in Dell Computers, build to order business model was an operational innovation. But sustaining innovations improve existing products and processes. The goal of sustaining innovations is improve existing products, not new products, not new gadget. So can we call sustaining innovations as a type of operational innovation? Yes, but the concentrate point, the focal point is on the present gadget, present products and processes. A more fuel efficient motor car or streamlining an administrative process. And disruptive innovation introduce wholly new processes and services, such as an all-electric motor car, as you can see, for example, in Tesla, or social networking. These are disruptive innovation, very new. Nothing like them you can find in the history of that industry, nothing. It is completely new. New process, new product, new business model. For example, social media. Disruptive innovation implies deep transformational change. Transformation and the deep and deeper level and deepest level. Innovations that are disruptive do not necessarily involve chaos and upheaval. What is disruptive is often traditional ways of thinking and acting. Again, you see here that we are talking about the attitudes. You have disruptive innovation, but the major part of innovations is about the attitude of manager, the attitude of customer, the attitude of society. Because of that, when you are talking about social media, that I don't love to call it social media because it is not media. It is a world. It is cyberspace. It is a virtual world. And sometimes, honestly, you should think that it is not virtual world. It is another type, another style of real world. Because just now in COVID-19, it is the real world. I am a real person, you are real people, and we are doing something real things. And after, for example, 2 years, you will be graduated. It is very real certificate, real document. But not to face, not touchable, not tactile relationship. Tactile has been something related to your touching. It is called in biology, it is called tactile. It is about light touch, pressure, heavy touch, and temperature and pain. All are tactile senses. But real world, virtual world, cyberspace, everything you want to call it, these are disruptive innovations. Please pay attention to the last sentence. What is disruptive is often traditional ways of thinking and acting. Innovations that are disruptive do not necessarily involve chaos and upheaval. What is disruptive is often traditional ways of thinking and acting. Because of that, it says it doesn't call chaotic innovation. It is not about chaotic. What is the relationship between, for example, this type or that type of doing something in disruptive problems or this innovation, which are innovator, early adopters, early majority, late majority, and laggards. Okay. Now we have innovation acceptance. It is very important for every company, every industry, every society to accept the innovation. The probability of innovation being accepted is increased when it is these properties, Rogers 1995. 1, advantages. The innovation should be advantages when compared with existing practice, especially when this is a disruptive innovation. This is the fundamental innovation. It's a basic innovation, new thinking, new business model, new gadget, everything which is new. It is fundamental. 2, compatible with existing practices. You can see in Windows, new versions of Windows has a very major parts as new parts. But Microsoft and also in Macintosh and Apple's, they try to be adaptable, compatible with the old versions. Why? Because it should be acceptable. If it is very different, there is no good acceptance. Especially with the existing systems, it should be different, but compatible. We are talking about the factors that make an innovation public acceptable, socially acceptable, industrially acceptable, business acceptable. 3, easy to understand. Please pay attention. All around the world, people don't like complicated issues. Ordinary people don't like complicated issues. I have 2 personal principles for when I want to know that I have understood something or not. I have 2 personal principles. First, I say when I have understood something, I should explain that matter for a 12 years child. Why? Because the 12 years is the basic age of shaping. It is called semantic. It is called symbolic thinking. Before 12 years, you have only realistic thinking. After that, after 12, 13, 11, you begin to think about the symbols, about the method behind what you are thinking. It is about abstract thinking. At first, I know when I have understood something fully, I should describe that matter for a 12-year child. Second one, I should find some types of daily life equality for that matter. For example, you go and study a business model about the handling a purchase, for example, in a market. You should relate those concepts of business, not the content, the concept of the business for your daily life. After that, you can say yes. For example, now we are here and we are talking about the different types of innovation. We say some of operational innovation, some of fundamental innovation, some of new innovation, first order, second order, third order. After this class, you should find the equals of these symbols in your daily life. If you want to practice your knowledge as a professional, you should check it in your daily life. Except that you have very rigid thinking about the knowledge. You are not scientists, you are not so smart. You are a library, a live library. So Wikipedia is everywhere and we can use Wikipedia. We don't need you to be a library. You should be thinkers. This principle is very good. To find that if you have understood something so good or not, at first, describing for it at the age of 12 child. Second, find the symbols of that concept in your daily life. Observable in demonstration sites and testable. Okay, habits of disruptive innovators, associating, questioning. This thing that I talked about the last time, it was associating. Associate the concepts with the daily life. Finding the relationship of the concept you have learned, for example, in your school, in your university, in your life. Find the equal concept, equal positions that indicates that symbol, that concept. It is association or associating. Questioning. The major different feature, the major different trait, personality trait between smart people and intelligent people is about questioning. Intelligent people questions, but don't find any answer. The smart people question and find multiple answers. Genius people question, find present answer, create new answers. These are genius, these are not smart. something more than to be genius. And experimenting, observing, spreading, and network. Okay. Have a disruptive innovator in defense of sustaining innovation. At first, considerable business benefit can be achieved through small-scale initiatives and sustaining innovations. Many organizations have highly profitable business based on traditional products, such as Harris-Jones, Swiss watches, Samuel Adams, Boston Lager. New technology does not simply displace old technology. Pay attention. Young managers, young leaders, young thinkers, pay attention, please. New technology doesn't simply displace old technology. Sometimes you cannot displace. You can add the new technology to the old technology, not displace, not destroy. The appeal of some old technologies is enduring. Sailing boats, paper books. Yes, yes. I don't know. What about you? Honestly, not about me. I am a relatively modern thinker, modern scientist, modern academic. But a lot of my friends, they are not related to the ebooks. I love ebook. Why? Because it's my personality, very easy provider for everything. But a lot of people still, they pay money for paper book. Also, my mom cannot connect. She has a very good computer system, very good mobile. And she is a very modern lady at the age of 70. But she cannot use ebooks. She says to me, I cannot connect with the ebook. I want to touch the paper. My wife is dead. My dad is dead. And sometimes I think when my mom touching the books, she is touching my dad. She's tactile. She loves. So these are the old fashioned. For example, in books, you see that you have added the new fashion, but don't destroy the old fashion. Don't displace the old fashion. We have new fashion and also old fashion, but not displace the old fashion. And some items are brought for their aesthetic value regardless of price. What's the meaning of aesthetic or aesthetic? Whatever. You are searching, looking for in the internet for aesthetic value. I have a girl from Germany here. She should know the aesthetic value because it is the origin of aesthetic value in Europe is Germany. Aesthetic value, it is about the concepts of beauty. It is very important, especially in the countries like Germany, like Europe, like my country, Iran, with the old fashion of culture, old fashion of history. Aesthetic principles and aesthetic values are very important. If you go to Vienna, for example, you can see a lot of very huge and beautiful architectures. It is aesthetic value. Because of that, you should pay attention in your managerial system to the beauty of the products you produce. Definition of organizational culture, it is the last part, simple definition, the way we do things around here. And technical definition, it is very important. The shared values, beliefs, and norms that influence the way employees think, feel, and act toward others, both inside and outside the organization. What is the first word associated to your mind when you hear the word of culture? What is the first word? When I say first word, culture, when I say culture, what is the first word, first vocabulary associated to your mind?
Respect.
Respect, thank you.
Humble.
Behavior.
What, Marcelina?
Heritage.
Heritage, thank you. Respect. Marcelina, what do you say?
Homehood is like how we are grow in which environment.
Yeah. Other people? Luisa?
Tradition.
Tradition, culture, history, heritage, and Hussam,
Values. Values.
what?
Values.
Value. Okay. These are the correct words, and the first word associate to your mind when you hear the word of culture. But the major part is ritual, ceremonies. These are the major part, also value, also history. And can you say me what is the difference between history and culture? Is there any personal analysis here among my students? What is the difference between history and culture? For example,
There's a lot of
we can,
facts.
what David?
I would say there's a lot of things and facts that happen in history that does not become cultural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. History about the past. Culture is the parts of history that you can see in a daily life of a nation. That part is culture. So you can have a very huge, very long history and very small culture. And sometimes you can create your culture. For example, in countries like Singapore, even like America, 1494, Christopher Columbus has discovered formally America, 1494. Now it is 2020. It is about 530 years, 530 years.
Can we say that after 9/11, the U.S. culture changed a bit?
Yes, I wanted to talk just about it. It is only half of a millennium, only near 500 years. It is not about history. Written history. We have books, we have approved books, written history. For example, about Mexico is near 2,000 years. For my country, Iran, is more than 2,500 years. Written history with details. About Greek is more than 300 years. So history can be long or short, yes, but that part of history that you can see in the daily life of people, it is called culture. So you can see countries, nations with a long history, long, good, prestigious, with a high reputation of history, as a kingdom, even some very fair conditions for people, like my country. Cyrus is the first one who wrote something like human rights about 2,500 years ago. And 2-3 years ago in New York, in Metropolitan Museum of New York, the Cyrus letter to the world about 2,500 years ago was shown for everybody. It is about the history. But you can create culture. Culture is creating, especially behavioral culture. Because of that, you are management students. And in different courses of your MBA and DBA as the master degree or doctorate of business administration, in different courses, we will talk about culture with you. Why? 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 Every teacher come to your class, at least one session I have taught in your university. I have teach negotiation process, conflict management, organizational change, like now, sociology. For several semesters, I have taught leadership. In all of them, we talk about culture. Why? Why a management student, a business student should know very good about the cultural effects and cross-cultural effects. Affects, not effects, cultural emotions, cultural feeling engage with management. Is there anybody among you that works on Salesforce? Marcelina, you have a good experience on Salesforce, yes?
Yes, I'm
Yes, I know.
actually I am on the sales department.
Yes. You talked about it about 1 year ago with me at the first semester.
This
Okay.
depends on
Marcelina,
who working.
yeah, Marcelina say to you that people buy everything by their emotion, even when they are buying something huge at the governmental stage, at the governmental level. But after buying, you can keep them by their rationality. Selling is not a rational process. Selling is an emotional process. Maintaining the customers are rational process. Maintaining. For attracting people to come and buy your products, it is not rational, it is emotional. Because of that, every shopping store you go, there are a lot of things for creating good feeling in you. You have gone, for example, to buy, I don't know, some plates for you, for example, kitchen. And you say, there are a lot of music, a lot of food sampling, some beautiful girls say to you, welcome to our, for example, shopping store and other things, and you are shocked at what is related in this from buying, for example, plate for my kitchen, and these manners, these rituals. Why? Because they want to create in you good feeling about shopping, general good feeling. After that, they will give you a lot of customer and after buying maintenance services for keeping you as the constant and permanent customer. Because of that, in the course of sale, in the course of marketing, in the course of sales management, we will learn you how to keep your buyers, customers whole life. Because of that, some stores, some superstores like Walmart say you, okay, until 90 days, you can come back and return everything except our electronic also. Why? Because creating loyalty. Please, please, please write this word at the front of your job. Loyalty. Loyalty is the major capital of every company. Loyalty, customer loyalty. Your customer should be like a homing pigeon. Do you know what is homing pigeon? A pigeon that go, for example, 1,000 miles far from the home and again, come back to the home. He or she is called homing pigeon. Loyalty. Because of that, some companies like Apple, you know, Samsung and Apple are companies addicted. They have some customer addicted. Some people are Apple addicted. Wayne, are you Apple addicted or Samsung, iOS or Android?
I use Apple.
Right. David?
Apple.
Hussam?
Android. I use Android.
Android, okay. Do you love it? Do you love Samsung and Android?
I think it's easy for me. I don't know.
Yes,
I've never
yes, yes.
in my entire life.
Yes. I have a good experience about 10 years with Android. I understand your feeling. Chineye, what about you? Android addicted or iOS addicted?
Apple.
Apple. And Marcelina?
Well, I'm using Apple since they produce the phones, you know.
Kenneth?
Professor, I have 2 questions.
Kenneth, what about you?
I use Apple.
And Luisa?
My internet was down. I couldn't hear the question.
Are you Apple addicted or Samsung addicted? iOS addicted or Android addicted?
Samsung.
Samsung, okay. You see here, for example, my computer and my tablet is about Android. My mobile and cell phone is about Apple. For example, you see here in America, in the North America, you see everybody loves, for example, Apple. If you go to Asia, wow, everybody loves Samsung. Because of that, you can see these companies create a good loyalty in their customers. Because of that, Nokia cannot stay. BlueBerry cannot stay. Other parts, for example, AT&T. These are good cell phones, but loyalty is something different. Loyalty is about making your customer as your family members. You are the next generation of leaders after COVID. You should know and you should think in different types of thinking and business model. Except of that, you will destroy yourself, you will destroy your business, and also you will destroy your certification that gained from the CMU. Organizational culture is important. Why? Shapes the public image of an organization. Public figure of an organization is very important. What is the symbol of modern automobile, modern car in the world just now? What is the most modern car automobile in the world just now?
Tesla.
Tesla. Everybody says Tesla. Why? Full electric car. Full, not hybrid. Tesla isn't hybrid. Full electric. Because of that, it is Tesla. After 100 years from now, Tesla will be again the symbol, the icon of public image of modern automobile. What is the symbol of quality in automobiles when you want a public automobile, public car? How many cars, how many brands do you know as the icon of quality? Sammy David too. One and second.
Honda and Toyota.
And Toyota. And Marcelina say?
Well, I like BMW.
Yes, I have seen your car is BMW and also Benz. Mercedes, Mercedes and BMW for high cost companies, for high cost people are the icon of why? Because you can ride a Mercedes after 4 decades, generation after generation. I have in my family a Benz like this, after generation, next generation, and the same car, the same quality, the same resting in your car, also again BMW. But in America, for mid-level, we love Toyota and, for example, Honda. With the money you pay, these are the icons. There is a good field in psychology. It is so-called advertisement psychology. It's a part of industrial psychology. There is a motto in advertisement psychology. They said, it is not important who is best. It is important who is first. It is not important who is best. It is important who is first. As an icon of quality, Benz is first. As an icon of quality and price, good price, Honda is best, for example, and the first. These are the very intellectual hints you should know about the psychology of the marketing. Also, you can find them in your books, I know. But as a course, you should talk and you should think about them. And influences organizational effectiveness. We are talking about the benefits of importance of organizational culture. Provide direction for the company and helps to attract, train, and motivate staff. Do you know what are the major companies that create food habits all around the world? 2 companies change the food habits in the history of human being. One of them changing their food habits of eating meal, and other changing habit about the chickens. What about the chicken? What company changes the food habit all around the world in the history of human being? Everybody knows.
I would say
What company? What?
Kentucky Fried Chicken?
Yeah. You can see a documentary in YouTube about this. It is a very good documentary in YouTube about these 2 companies. They have changed eating habits in the history of human being. Before KFC and after KFC, the consuming of chicken all around the world has changed, totally changed. And the second one about the meat, it is
McDonald's.
McDonald's, yes. McDonald's changed the culture of hamburger all around the world. What is the origin country of hamburger? Luisa, what is the origin country of hamburger?
Germany
Yes,
and the sausage. Wurst. actually.
sausage, yeah. Beer, sausage, hamburger, they are the origin from the country. Also hot dog, not. Hot dog is from something like American, European. I'm not sure about it. You can find it and say in the next session. I'm not certain about the origin of hot dog. But hamburger is from Germany like beer. But McDonald's changed the culture of eating hamburger in the history of human being food habits, eating habits. Because of that, a culture of organization can change the culture in the same field of the organization. If you work in a very narrow field of job, and you are very prestigious, you are very powerful in this narrow field of job, narrow field of business, you can create some type of culture, consuming culture, behavioral culture, even sometimes thinking culture in that field. A strong culture is one which organizations' values are widely shared and intensely held, and which does guide behavior. How can you find, how can you know, how can you understand that an organizational culture is very important and very effective to the degree of that organization culture impact the behavior of consumers of that service, of that, for example, product by the organization. A weak culture, a weak organizational culture in constant displays leader agreement about the core values or about expected values. The next question, who is the most creative businessman just now, most creative, courageous businessman? We talk about him, I think, about him also. About him, but
Nowadays, live, it's
live, yes, just now, live.
Steve Jobs.
No,
Jeff Bezos.
Warren Buffett.
but
Warren Buffett, no?
no. Warren Buffett is the richest.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk, thank you. You can check it in internet just now or after the class. Elon Musk is the most creative, courageous at the age of 44, I think, or 43. He is competing Donald Trump as a president of the United States and Jeff Bezos as the richest man in the world just now. He is competing with these two guys for sending human to the moon. And he has said it is only 2 years. Jeff Bezos said 3 years. The president of the United States says 4 years. Because of that, he is the most creative and most courageous live businessman in the earth just now. Please, please, please think, study, and read about Elon Musk. Elon Musk is the icon of next generation of businessman. And you are the next generation for the next market. Forget about the old-fashioned marketing or old-fashioned business. He is the major leader of your future market. You should follow him. And also, some people like him. Jeff Bezos, no. Bill Gates, no. I think Bill Gates business, Bill Gates, not Microsoft. Microsoft is very modern, but business type of Bill Gates is old-fashioned. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos. These are the major guidelines for your future business. Please, I think there are 3 or 4 books about the mental syntax. Mental syntax is the conceptual framework and theoretical framework of how Elon Musk or some people like him are thinking. And it is very interesting. You can see the documentaries in YouTube about his daily life. His daily life is very simple. Very, very, very simple. One computer, one book, one pen and pencil, that's it. And he is creating journey to the moon for people. Each journey with 100 people. Each journey, each travel, each trip. 100 people go to moon. Welcome to moon before 2030. And the last part is dysfunctional organizational culture, sometimes organizational culture. I have a question. Is there anybody here to work on the car dealership or businesses related to cars or no, or have a history of experience of this type? Okay. You know, every type of Far East Oriental car factories have a fashionable, have a very luxury model of their company. Why? For example, what is the luxury type of Toyota?
Lexus.
Lexus, thank you. Lexus is from Toyota. Toyota is not so luxury. It is very good quality, high quality, very good work for a lot of years, but it is not so luxury. And what is the luxury type of Honda?
Acura.
Acura. And what is the luxury type of Mitsubishi? It is Infiniti. Infiniti is from Mitsubishi? Yes. These are three companies which produce the same company products in a luxury level. Toyota for general population, Lexus is a greater and more luxury and a little more expensive. Honda is for general people, and the luxury part of Honda is Acura. Mitsubishi, I think Mitsubishi. I'm not certain about it, but I think Mitsubishi, and the luxury part of Mitsubishi is Infiniti. Why?
Because they are like different public for this lines.
Why?
There's some
The
people.
most loyalty in the world of car producing is for Toyota. Most loyalty all around the world. The statistics, research shows it. This is the research finding.
Okay.
And the most popular car, in all history of car production, is for, I'm sorry, but the name of the car is Corona also. From 1973 until now, 3 million Corona has produced and sold. 3 million. But in this market, Toyota added Lexus. Why? And especially for American type. Honestly, Lexus is at first was American type of Toyota. Infiniti is just American type. If you go out of the Canada and America, you cannot find very popular like America Infiniti. You can find it, but not so popular. In America, it is very popular, Infiniti. And also Acura, different type. Why? Why companies like Toyota, like Mitsubishi, like Honda, with a good reputation in the market, why they have alternative choices? These are the topics you as the future managers, Salesforce leaders, it is not the duty of going to university to read the books. It is not necessary to pay, I don't know, at least $20,000 for a period of master degree, only for reading the books. It is a time of thinking. If you cannot think, you will not be different. Everybody can read the books, honestly. Everybody can read. if you read books for 6 months, after that, you will be a bookworm. Bookworm is as a type of person that eating the books, bookworm. But it is not good. It is not very profitable because everything is Google. You can find everything. You are not Google. You are not the library. Because of thinking and acting based upon your thinking, analytical thinking, you can be different. Somebody like, for example, Elon Musk and other people. Please start to think about the market, not only gaining information. You are not computer. Computers, all computers, very old and very cheap computers are better than human brain in speed and in accuracy. More speedy, more accurate. It's computer. By the time everything is solved, your brain is for thinking and analysis in every time. Because of that, I don't answer you. I only ask you to think about it, to search about it, and to be a leader with a high sense of curiosity. I love to see the light of curiosity in your mind and in your eyes. Wow. That's the why. Why tutor is very prestigious. I know, because some people love, for example, other types of tutor with a luxury and with a new fashion. I know it, but not about producing another mark, another style. It is different. A lot of people doesn't know about the relationship between Lexus and Toyota. A lot of people doesn't know. I'm not sure that you 6 or 7 people here, except of David, I'm not sure that you know this information. Relationship between Toyota and Lexus, Honda and Acura, Mitsubishi and Infiniti. Also, you want to be the next generation of moneymaker people as managers, okay?
Professor, I have just a question, like a personal question that stays in my mind. I remember when you said that what's the difference between cultures and what differs one culture than other, and then that cultures like it interferes in the government. I was thinking with myself, what is the difference and what makes one culture, if it is that makes one culture better than the other? And if it's that possible, why there's like some countries better than others with so different cultures?
Anybody want to answer? Marcelina, do you have any answer?
Actually, I'm thinking that this is not the bad or wrong culture, because every country has a certain ways to promote their culture and to have a respect to them culture. Because, for example, I have a friend who is one from African country, and she says that smelling the food before the dinner is something what is not good for the owner of the house or for the person who's cooking, right? But in my country, when you smell the food before it's cooked, is something what the owner is admire, or the chef, right?
Yes. Also in my country, yes.
But
it's not.
Go ahead.
It's not. It's just our interpretation is making our false statement. That's why I had so many misunderstanding between one country and the other country, because even say hi or introducing yourself is like in Japan, and if you are checking someone's eyes, it's not respectful. But in Russia, you have to check the eyes because that's very respectful. So it's just the misunderstanding and misinterpreting make us full of this, that the countries, they can make different culture and the different prescription of interpretation of the quality of that culture.
Yeah, I completely understand. But for example, there's like a kind of pattern that certain countries that tend to follow some values, some principles, they tend to have a better outcome than other countries that tend to follow these principles and these values, you know? For example, I don't know if you can say that there's one culture.
Other people want to answer, David. Other interpretation. Thank you, Marcela. Other people want to answer why different countries follow one single culture but they gain different results.
Yeah.
For example, political culture. Everybody knows that one of the worst and unhumanistic, non-humanistic, non-humanistic economical systems is capitalism. Capitalism is not humanistic. But why? Different countries with different interpretation. For example, Canada, the major part of America, as the richest country in the world, you know that the richest country in the world is America with a high level of money. But you can see a lot of, I think, more than every country all around the world, you can see homeless in the streets of America, in the great cities, not in the far cities. For example, in Los Angeles or Chicago, why the country with the highest level of outcome all around the world, the richest country in the world, has the highest level of homelessness? It is the great question for the government. And as you see in the, for example, candidation for presidency, every president, every candidate says, yes, I will solve the problem of homelessness. Why? David says that, for example, with one single culture, for example, economic culture, capitalism or socialism as an economic capitalism. Why Russia, old Russia, followed the communism and socialism and cannot be affordable, cannot be good, and finally the countries separated from each other. And the same country with a very lower level of, for example, socialism, like Sweden, like Denmark, they are very happy. The happiest nation all around the world for several years is Denmark, and after that, Sweden and the Scandinavian countries. In the other parts, some countries like, for example, Canada or Australia, with a mid-level capitalism are very good, have very happy people. But America is highest stress country. Why? Because the highest level of capitalism. What is the distinguishing factor for following a one single, the same, for example, economic or cultural system, and will end to different, sometimes opposite outcomes? This is the question of, and you can find it also in the organization. If you want to choose a same cultural organizational culture for different organization, you cannot find. Anybody know what is ISO? ISO?
It's that shows you have a certain quality, and for example, your products.
You are disconnected. Your voice is disconnected, interrupted.
It shows a certain standard that you reach. It's a certification that shows that your product is up to quality or your processes.
Yeah. International standardization of organization, ISO or ISO. It is the standardization of management, not product. What does it mean? It means, what is the scientific definition of efficiency? The ratio between output to input is called efficiency. It is always lower than 1, because always output is lower than your input. You waste, you cost a little, and your output is lower than it. This is efficiency. When it is high, it is near 100%. It is near the 1. But always in real world, it is lower than 1, lower than 100%. It is ISO. ISO about the efficiency, not about the procedure of production. Why I talk about ISO? Because ISO is something like culture. For different companies, for example, one of the items of ISO is ISO 9001, I think. Or 9001 or 9001, yes. If Toyota has ISO standard 9001, and a sandwich salesman in, for example, my country has the same ISO, it doesn't mean that Toyota and, for example, sandwich makers in my country, in a traditional part of my city, has the same outcome. No, it is mean that the ratio of outcome to income is the same. For example, if the Toyota has $10 million and $2 million as a profit, it is 20%. And in that, for example, sandwich shop, they have, for example, $1,000 and they have $200 profit. Yes, the ratio again, 20%. It is about percent. It is about not the amount of money, about the percentage of money. Because of that, we are talking about the surrounding structures, and David asked good questions. And finally, before to the end of this chapter, I want Luisa to talk about 10 minutes about the subject that she has prepared for us. Thanks her for spending time. She's the first one in the class and has prepared something good for the class. And after that, because I see that some of you are boring and are sleeping and not in a good and sharp mind in the class, that I will have some surprise for the next week, and I will send you by email, and have a good time in the next week for spending your time, and it is mandatory for you. I will spend some grade and score for the extra assignments I want you. Luisa, we are at your service. Do you want to share something?
Yes, I have a presentation.
Yes, take a minute.
I can't share my screen, I think. No. Wait a minute to find the. Can you share it now? Yes, thank you.
Welcome. Yes. Game theory. Thank you. And send me by email, please. And after that, I will send for other students of the class. It is very important and very fantastic to know about the game theory. Okay, thank you. It is 17 PowerPoints. You have about 10 to 50 minutes.
So yeah, I'm going to talk about game theory, and it tries to answer the question, what is the most likely outcome when people have to make strategic decisions and are dependent on other people's decisions, and also these people are dependent on our decisions. Every day we have to make decisions. Sometimes we realize it, sometimes we don't. For example, it could be an actual game where the soccer player has to decide, does he want to kick the ball into the left corner of the goal, into the center, or to the right side? And the goalkeeper has to do the same. The company has to decide if it wants to advertise or not, and it could depend on the competition, how much the competition advertises. But they also have to decide how high they want to set the price for the product, which also could depend on competition. When we make decisions, it can be under certainty, which means that we basically know the outcome. We can make decisions under risk, which means we have not all the knowledge, not all the information we might need, but we have a good idea about the probability of the outcome. Or we make our decisions under uncertainty, which means we make the decisions based on assumptions. And these decisions can be independent of others, or they are dependent on others, so we have to consider other people's decisions, and they consider our decisions. So we have to try to see what is our optimum strategy in regard to what other people are doing, and the other people have to see what we are doing. And this is basically what game theory is about. It's a mathematical model trying to determine which decision rational players make to optimize their payoffs in a game while being dependent on other players' decisions, and also they are dependent on us. So you can apply game theory to any game. It's not meant to be an actual game. It could be an actual game like soccer or chess, but it can also be any situation, or pretty much a lot of situations where you have to make decisions. So a game consists of 3 components. One is the player, or the players, which make strategic decisions in the game. There has to be a payoff, which means it's the reward that players achieve from arriving at a particular outcome. And there needs to be a strategy. So these are the actions that players take in a game. A strategy can either be pure, which means you keep the same strategy and your same options and don't have any variation, which could be in the case of the soccer gamer, that he always kicks the ball into the left side of the corner and never to the right side. A mixed strategy means he mixes up his options and sometimes kicks the ball to the left side, sometimes to the right side. But there are also limitations to game theory, because we have to assume that players are rational, self-interested, and utility maximizing, which is of course not always the case. And also we assume we have all the information, and in the real world, that is often not the case, that we have that much information. There are many different types of games that can be analyzed via game theory. And they can be distinguished by different characteristics. So one is the game simultaneous, or is it a sequential game? Are any random moves allowed? Does the player have perfect or imperfect information? Perfect would mean, for example, in a game of chess, that you always see what your opponent is doing. So you have perfect information, while with imperfect information, which is happening in poker, you don't see your opponent's cards. Then another characteristic of a game that distinguishes from other games could be that you have either complete information or not. It means that all players know all the rules and know what, for example, which moves are allowed. It could be another characteristic is if it's a zero-sum game or a non-zero-sum game. So a zero-sum game is a situation in a game theory in which a person's gain is the other person's loss. So the net change in benefit is 0, and examples could be, for example, in the financial market, where you have options and futures. So another characteristic is communication. Is it allowed or not? And cooperative or non-cooperative games, which is also called competitive games. And do you guys know any famous non-cooperative game?
No. Is there any game that it is not competitive?
Non-cooperative. Oh, sorry, non-cooperative. It's a competitive game, but it's also called non-cooperative. Both term works.
Maybe chess.
No ideas?
Maybe chess.
Did you say?
Yeah.
I can't hear you.
I think he's trying to say chess, right?
Yeah.
What is
it?
The game
Yeah,
of
I mean, like, So, okay, maybe I misguided you, but I meant, so it's a concept that I was asking for, but so a famous example for a non-cooperative game is the Prisoner's Dilemma. I'm sure you've heard of it. So that's where two prisoners get two options. They can either, so they did a minor crime and the police needs more information, so they can confess or stay silent. So no, the police did an agreement with them and is trying to get information. So the police gives them two options, confess or stay silent. And if they both stay silent, they both get 1 year in prison. If one of them confesses and the other one stays silent, you get, the one confesses gets 0 years in prison and the other one gets 15 years. And if both confess, both have to go to prison for 10 years.
Is there anybody here having experience with your Prisoner Dilemma game or not? I haven't heard about it before that.
I have heard about it before.
It's interesting or not? Exciting or not?
It is. I think it is. It is like more like psychological thing, a way to think about it. No.
I don't know, yes, but I don't know. It is interesting for playing game.
For playing games.
And also it is a mental game, like chess.
Yeah.
It's very easy. I don't know, it is easy or not.
I think it can be useful. It can be useful.
Useful. Anybody? Anybody something like it? A game like it? Prisoner's Dilemma? Non-cooperative, but competitive. Go ahead. Thank you. We are hearing. Luisa, continue.
Okay, they have, so if they could talk to each other, they would of course decide what's best for the group. So they both would stay silent and both would only get 1 year. So they would choose what's best for the group. But since they cannot talk to each other, they both choose what's best for themselves. So, and to see what's best for themselves, we're trying to look what's the best strategy for both prisoners, so for Ellen and Ben. And first we look to see the dominant strategy for Ellen. So what is Ellen doing? What's Ellen's best strategy? And to find out, we would look at what happens when Ben stays silent. So if Ben stays silent and Ellen stays silent, Ellen only gets 1 year in prison. If Ben stays silent and Ellen confesses, you see here, he gets to be free. And of course, 1 year, so not being in prison is better than being 1 year in prison. So Ellen would decide to confess. In the situation where Ben would confess, it's better for Ellen to stay silent. If in the situation of confessing and Ellen stays silent, Ellen would get 15 years. And if Ellen would confess and Ben would confess, Ellen would only get 10 years. So 10 is better than 15. So here confessing is also better than staying silent. Both times confessing is better. It's confessing is the dominant strategy for Ellen, which means it's the highest payoff regardless what Ben is doing. And we could do the same now for Ellen and see what is his dominant strategy, and confessing would be also his dominant strategy. And because they are two dominant, because both players have dominant strategies, it's called dominant strategy equilibrium, which is always a Nash equilibrium, which means there's no incentive for any player to be the only one to change strategies, because they already find their best strategy, and if they would change it, they would make themselves off worse. The Prisoner's Dilemma has one single Nash equilibrium, which is when both confessed. And it was discovered by John Nash, who won the Nobel Prize for Economics in 1994. And you can see him here on the left side. And if you would like to know more about his life and discovery of the Nash equilibrium, there's also a movie about it, which is called The Beautiful Mind, A Beautiful Mind. And
He had a schizophrenia.
yes, I read it today, actually. Yeah.
And when the movie was making, he was the consultant of the movie of his life. And sometime at the back scene, Russell Crowe asked John Nash, "Professor, can you see the other hallucination just now?" And John Nash only smiled. Even when they were making a movie about the John Nash life, John Nash had some visual hallucinations. And about 4 years ago, in a car accident, very, very accidental, John Nash died. It is highly recommended to see the movie A Beautiful Mind, especially at the final seconds when John Nash wants to receive the Nobel Prize for his great mathematical model for interpreting the stock market. It is very, very, very huge and new model of thinking about the stock market. The last stage of the movie is fantastic. When he is leaving out of the Nobel Salon and he has received the Nobel Prize, and look at the corner of the salon of the building, and he saw his own visual hallucinations. If you haven't seen this movie, it is a must-see movie, A Beautiful Mind. Very humanistic, with great actors and actresses, and it is about the live human being with a chaotic mind, so-called schizophrenia, and also with a beautiful mind, so-called mathematical model of everything. Thank you for indicating John Nash. He is one of my famous figures in my mind, also as a psychotherapist. Okay, go ahead, continue.
Oh, that was actually it. And if you have any questions, you can ask me.
It is over.
Yes.
Thank you for presentation. It was very helpful for me as a teacher instructor of this course. I don't know how much was this topic new for you. I don't know that if you had any studying about the game theory before this presentation or not. But I think it is a good point for you also to communicate, not on the new areas of business, but in the major and more important areas of business. It is not about the new or old. It is about the efficacy and efficiency of the areas. I want a candidate for the next week. I can choose on my own self, but I prefer somebody be a candidate. After that, I will talk about the topic.
Professor, being honest, I think that I candidated myself last week to talk about feedback and forward something, if I'm not wrong. Is that right?
Yes. Are you ready just now?
No, I'm not ready right now. And I was gonna say that I'm at the situation right now, I'm not gonna be
as
ready
a punishment. As a punishment, because I love your mental syntax, I love your mental frame, and I think one of your greatest problems is something procrastination, putting off something, and you are wasting your time. As an instructive punishment, as your teacher, I punish you and give you a very interesting topic for the next week, the life of Elon Musk. Oh, you should talk about Elon Musk 10 minutes with PowerPoint, just like Luisa. It's perfect. Yes, it's very serious.
For the next
it can be a turning point in your business life, a turning point. You don't know what you are doing. I know.
Okay.
You don't know.
I mean, I don't, I'm
You are
not,
not qualified for have any view about the topics because I am your instructor and I say you it can be your turning point in your business thinking, not in your business life. So with a very good, very prestigious, very luxury and very professional PowerPoint, you have 10 minutes, like, thank you, Lisa, it was very professional, your presentation was very professional, about the life and more important than the life course, about the major thinking of Elon Musk as the highest, more creative, and near the richest man, not the richest man, near the richest, one of the richest people in the world. And also we know the most courageous and the most creative businessman all around the world now is Elon Musk. We can talk about Tesla, talk about SpaceX, and talk about the future of Elon Musk and also his course of life. Is it okay?
I was gonna ask you if I could move this instead of next Monday the other Monday.
No, there is no time for wasting.
No, but I'm not
No
wasting.
time for wasting. There is no excuses accepted. No excuses accepted. Also, it is a friendly comment. It is not a it is not comment. It is comment. I love your thinking, and I want to push you to go forward because I think you are not lazy, but you are very chaotic in mind, and I want to shape your mind. It is necessary. Because of that, there is no time for wasting.
Okay.
You should do it at the highest level of perfectionism. Okay?
Now that I bought his 2 books, I bought 1 book, Elon Musk. I was reading and I lost in the airplane. Then when I came back to US, I bought it again and then I finished. But it's not here with me. That's the point. I'm in the middle of the farm, in the middle of the nothing. I barely have internet. So if I could, I can start working on that, but I'm not gonna.
Who is candidate for the next Monday?
Yeah. I'm the
Marcelina?
worst. I swear I can.
Wayne?
What is the subject?
As you wish.
As I wish.
Do you want to talk about the business of aerospace for us?
About what?
Aerospace, airplane business. Do you want
yeah,
to
I can talk about that. Actually, I don't have to do
But
presentation for that.
yes.
It's coming naturally.
Yes, I know you are professional and good money maker lady in airplane and aerospace industry. I know you, but I want to present it very professional and academically, not a very simple lecture.
Okay.
Don't talk about PowerPoints. Okay, next Monday, Marcelina will talk about her, if she loves also, she likes also, about her business experiences in the industry of airplane and aerospace, even that about the course of aerospace business and the future, predicted future. And after that, for the week 5, David will talk about Elon Musk life course of Elon Musk, and also the future of thinkers in business and marketing like Elon Musk. Is it good?
Yeah.
No, yes, actually, yeah.
Okay. So now, from now, you have 15 minutes for taking your quiz 3. And sorry again for the first of the session. It was not also my fault, but maybe my fault. But after that, I am happy that we can solve the problem after 10 minutes at the maximum rate. And see you next week again on the Monday. I am so happy with your learning engagement. Thank you. You are always on time. I know that all you are busy, I know, but it's your problem, not my problem. Finally, you should learn to solve your problems in the not field of business, in the field of life. So thank you for engaging so on time. You should determine your title this week, title justification for the 3rd week. You should work on your group case study. Don't postpone it. Don't postpone it. I had a bad situation from my students about the postponing their case studies. And after that, you should go for your final paper. So for this week, start your group case study and title justification. Go for the week 3. Lisa, what?
What is the case analysis about and the title justification?
Title justification is about your final paper. It's not
So we
related
can
to-
choose any topic, or
You can choose it, but I prefer to send me before justification for me. I want to have some views and some supervision on your topics.
okay, because we don't have any guidelines, right?
No guideline, it is related to you. It should be about the business, about the marketing, about the change. The major topic of this course is change.
Okay.
It's very important for me. If you choose another topic which is not related to the change, it is not accepted. But in the field of change, you have a good freedom to choose any topic you want, related to business, related to marketing, related to psychology, related to positive psychology, related to everything which includes change.
And for the case analysis?
For the case, it is related to your group. It is not related to me.
Are the groups
So also a topic of change?
Topic is related to you are 3 persons in a group.
So any topic?
Yes, I expect you 3 persons as the MBA students that have a good knowledge about the topics in the field of business. If you don't know, you are not eligible to be a master degree in business. It is not related to me. I don't have any problem with any topic you want to choose for your group case study. But finally, yes, you can use with all 3 persons.
Because last time when we did case analysis, we always had a text and then we had to solve a problem, but it's different this time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Go for the quiz. Bye.
Bye bye.